Hey, what's going on, guys? It's Trevor with Embers Fireplaces and Outdoor Living. Today, as the weather's turning, we're gonna settle a debate for you. One of the biggest questions we get when it starts getting cold outside, should you buy a gas log set like this, or follow me over here, the alternative to getting a gas log set would be to get a gas insert. So let me show you these two gas inserts. Here they are here. Gas inserts. Which one do you get? Stay tuned to the end of this video and find out. So like I said, we need to settle the debate. Many people can't decide if they should get a gas log set or a gas insert. So we're gonna break down the differences for you here and hopefully make it easy for you to decide which route you wanna go. Before we get started though, don't forget to subscribe to our channel. It helps us out a ton when you do that. So let's start with gas log sets. Now we're gonna break this down into three different categories. There's really three major differences between gas log sets and gas inserts. We have looks or aesthetics, we have price, the actual cost of them, and performance. So both of them are very different in all three categories. And it's not that one is necessarily better than the other, it's just they suit entirely different needs. So it's really gonna depend on your individual circumstances of what's gonna be the best fit for you, and hopefully this video will help you answer that. So let's start with the gas log set. Let's start with looks. Now, gas log sets typically look awesome. You can tell this one looks amazing. The reason they look amazing is because we have a lot of high BTU outputs. We have a very, very attractive flame. And then they also look really good because we can sort of keep that open concept design. So this is a big open fireplace. We're not sort of shrinking our opening. We still have the look of a big open fireplace with a really attractive flame. So I would say aesthetics is pretty hard to beat a gas log set. There is one downside with gas logs, and you can see this soot that we have here. We can mess with our embers a little bit. We're gonna have continuous soot buildup, and we do have a spray that works pretty well. And you can check out our video. I'll include a link below if you wanna see how that spray works. We've done a test on it. Works very good. So it's not a huge deal, it's just kind of annoying every once in a while. You're gonna have to spray that down with a soot remover. So that's really it as far as aesthetics. I would give this the notch in the way that they actually look. Also, let's move on to cost. Cost of gas logs are also very efficient. So gas logs are typically a fraction of the cost of a gas insert. And then also the install is much easier as well when we're talking about cost. You're gonna have a much lower cost of an install because it's a much simpler process. We don't have to run any ducting, we don't have to run any venting up your chimney. It can typically utilize just the existing chimney that you have in place. And so, especially if you already have gas there, it's a very straightforward install process depending on your controls. Some of the more basic controls, you don't even need power. And if you already have gas there, it makes it a very easy, simple install process. So your cost is gonna be very, very low. Now, here's the catch. Because so far it sounds great, right? Yeah, sign me up, give me a gas log. Let's move on to performance. Now this is where gas log sets really suffer on performance. But again, this is based off your individual needs on if it actually is a big deal to you or not. So from a heat output standpoint, gas log sets really just, they don't do anything for me. They don't move the needle for me at all. You know, being here in the industry, being in a showroom full of heating products, these are gonna be on the very, very low side of performance. Now you can't see this in the video, so I'm gonna try to show you as best I can. When I'm standing right here, I feel heat. But I mean, I can't get any closer to this thing. Like, okay, I feel some heat, this is giving off some heat. When I stand right here, I feel zero heat. When I stand right here, it's like it's not even on. So it's doing nothing from a performance standpoint. Now, why could that be potentially a good thing? If you're in Florida, if you're in Phoenix, Arizona, warmer Southern California, places where you're not looking for any heat, this could actually be a good thing. But the problem is they actually create a negative efficiency. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, unless you're pulling outside air, like I said, they're open. So what that means is they're sucking your room air. So let's say you have a forced air, and that you're paying your furnace to heat the house. Well, it's taking the heated air that you just paid from your furnace, sucking it out of the room for combustion, combusting that warm air that you just paid, and then sending all that warm air out the chimney. So even though you might immediately feel heat right here, it's gonna make your home work that much harder to heat your house. So it's actually creating a negative efficiency from a heating standpoint. So you would never wanna buy a gas log if you're looking for it as any sort of heat source at all, or to heat up the space. Now, for example, we have remote thermostats all over the place. I set it about 8 feet away, and we're reading about 74 degrees, which is what it is ambient temperature in the showroom here. So again, you can see it's doing nothing to literally move the needle, thermostat needle. I mean, come on, I'm here all day, right? It's not moving the needle at all. So you do not want this if you're in a cold climate and you're looking to supplement your heat source or even a primary heat source. Gas log set's gonna be a no-go for you. But like I said, if you're in one of those warmer climates, or if you have a new build where the house is built really tight and you're not looking for any sort of heat, this may be a good option. I also have a heat gun to show you this. Now, of course, when I put this right on the direct flame, of course, we have a lot of heat right there, but that heat is literally escaping the house. It's going right up the chimney. And then around the fireplace, you can see above it, it's warming up a little bit, but again, not doing much. So you can see it's just not doing much from a heat standpoint. All right, let's go over to our gas inserts. Let's talk about those. Okay, so here's our gas inserts. Now we have a whole showroom full of them, but these are two of the finest gas inserts in all the land. These are Mendota gas inserts. I would say that these are our highest performing from an efficiency standpoint and heat standpoint. These are our best gas inserts. Flip side of that is they're also our most expensive. You're gonna pay for them. So, okay, let's go through our categories here. So the first thing we talked about is aesthetics. Big difference here is we're going back now into a sealed, closed firebox. So we have a piece of glass on the front of these, and they're completely sealed. So what that's gonna do is obviously shrink down our window size. So it's not gonna look nearly as open, and you're probably gonna lose some square inches on your fireplace opening, putting in a gas insert. And that, again, that's not necessarily a bad thing, but if you're someone that really loves the open concept, you're not really gonna get that with a gas insert. And then you usually have to do a flashing, ooh, I'm so dumb. I've worked in fireplace shop for 12 years. I just touch it like that. I'm such a dummy. Unbelievable. So when you have these in the wall, you usually have to put a trim or a flashing to cover up the old opening. Again, depending on your circumstances, that may not always be a bad thing. Sometimes the inside of your old fireplace is absolutely hideous. You may hate it. You could love nothing better than to never see it again. Gas insert's gonna be what you want. But if you have a beautiful brick open fireplace that you love the look of, you're not gonna like that this is gonna hide that, because when you put in a gas insert, the old fireplace essentially disappears. It completely goes away and is replaced with this new one. So from aesthetics, I wouldn't really say one's better than the other, and you can see you can do a lot with them as far as frame shapes, frame sizes, frame colors, log colors. So there's a ton we can do aesthetically still. You're not limited on your aesthetic options, just the main thing is you're gonna make your viewing area probably smaller. Okay, let's move on to cost. Well, obviously with gas inserts, there's a lot more to them. It's not as simple as just putting an open log set in here. Like I said, they have a sealed glass front. Now, typically that front is made out of ceramic glass, which is gonna allow 1,000 degrees, usually of instant heat transfer right into the room. Ceramic glass is very expensive. So the actual inserts themselves are usually double to triple the cost on average. Not always, don't take that to the bank. I know some of you commenters out there will, but on average. And of course, there's a lot other accessories you need. You need the trims, you need the safety screen. Sometimes blowers aren't always standard, remote controls, that kind of thing. And then on top of that, we have to run 2 flex liners up your chimney, which we'll get to in our performance. But again, that just keeps adding to the cost. And then because we're running venting down your existing chimney, your labor is going to be more expensive. So you're going to spend a lot more in labor. So when it's all said and done, to get this completely installed, you're probably at least double the cost. Sometimes in some cases, if you get a really nice gas insert, you could be triple the cost of a gas log set. So you're going to spend substantially more. Now, again, that may not always be a bad thing, which we'll get into with performance. So let's move into performance. I would say the number one difference between a gas log set and a gas insert is going to be performance more than anything else. It's the complete opposite of a gas log set. Gas logs using existing room air, sucking heated air out of the house. This is doing the opposite. Through those vent systems, usually 2 vents. One's bringing fresh air from outside the house for combustion in a sealed environment, and the other one's exhausting. So what that's doing is it's taking air from outside the house, creating combustion, creating fuel, creating heat, and getting instant 1,000 degrees of heat immediately into the room through radiant heat. And so when I say that, it starts to justify the cost difference of spending triple the amount of money. Now, why could I say that? Well, let's say you need to invest in a whole home heater. It's not unrealistic that a gas insert can heat an entire home. It definitely is doable. And so if you were to put that money into a new heating system, a forced air furnace system, you would expect to spend $3,000, $5,000, $7,000 on a new heating system. And so when you think about it from an investment standpoint, you're investing in a heating system in your home, then it starts to justify that price difference. Now, like I said, if you're in a warm climate, Florida, something like that, it really doesn't make a lot of sense to put a gas insert in your home. Phoenix, those types of places, because you're making this big investment for something that your home probably doesn't need. And so, again, based on individual circumstances, that is going to be what you're going to want to look at. And on top of that, you're basically putting in a home heating system. And of course, it's going to be way more attractive than a forced air or radiant flooring, radiant heating, that type of thing. It can actually add value aesthetically to the house on top of the investment side of heating your house. And then it's just cozy. When you stand next to these are cozy. Elijah's getting mad at me because he says I need to wrap it up because his camera's going to melt. I'm sweating to death because it's putting out so much heat into the room. For example, these are just on radiantly. I don't have the blowers turned on right now because all that heat's coming off the front of the glass. I put a same remote the same distance away. What were we, 74 degrees?
74.
Yeah, 74. Same distance away. What do you got there?
87.
87. Had Elijah say that so you guys don't think I'm fibbing. 87. So that's a 13-degree swing. These have been on 40 minutes? Yeah, I'd say about 40 minutes. We had them on, turned them on before the video started just to let them warm up and heat up. So you can see significant performance difference. And what were we around the units? Like 130 on the gas log?
Yeah.
Let's put on the same here. So we're over 100 degrees, well over 100 degrees hotter. And that's because the heat's coming out into the room. Of course, it's rolling up. Heat's gonna naturally rise, so this can be the hottest spot. We're not getting any heat out into the room on the gas log. So you can see from a performance standpoint, night and day difference. So, which one should you get? That's $1 million question. Only you can answer that, right? Again, it's gonna depend on your circumstances. My 2 cents are, if you're in an area in a cold climate where you could use the heat, save you up your money, wait a season or 2, and get a gas log or a gas insert. It just doesn't make sense to get a gas log set if you're in any sort of cold climate. Invest your money in this. Of course, we're biased here, but I always think it's a better investment to invest a heating system in a fireplace than it is any other heat source, really. Forced air, radiant flooring, that type of thing. Put your money into a fireplace. You will not regret it. But again, if you're in a warm climate, I would 100% be okay with a gas log set all day. In fact, I'd probably recommend it because this will never be on because it's just too darn hot. You're never gonna be able to use it. So get yourself a nice gas log set. So hopefully that makes sense. Don't forget, if you're in the Denver metro area, come down to our showroom today, see these products in person for yourself. Am I missing anything? What am I missing here? Check out our website, call our text or sales staff. We're always available on our web chats. Get us on the phone. We're here to help you out, answer any questions you have. Again, you have to subscribe. It keeps allowing us to make videos like this. Awesome, awesome content. Awesome videos that I know you guys love. So we'll have more videos coming up for the winter. Stay tuned.